Welcome back to Jenny from the chopping block. And today we have an amazing friend of mine, and I cannot wait to share her with you guys, Michaelle Gocko. And Michaelle and I met actually in Lorelei Mariano's Mastermind. And it was such an amazing time that we had when you came to New York, and we got to shop and go to lunch and dance. I have the best memories dancing in Angela's showroom.
I have the best shopping experience memory for a long time. Trust me.
So I wanted to highlight you, and you came into my vortex, and I was like, oh, you're perfect. So for what I'm trying to do. So I wanted to highlight her and talk about her Rise Up Conseils and how she's been doing this for about a year. She has a mastermind coming out next week. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience and what that means to you and what it means to everyone else?
Sure. So thank you so much for having me on your famous show. I'm really honored to be here. I'm one of your guests. Rise Up has been it's been like a baby in my mind and the mind of my co-founder Hawa for years. And it's really kind of the art product of 10 plus years living abroad and living in France and transforming our life through business school. We went to attend to university in Chicago. I went to Chicago Booth.
You did?
And
I didn't know that.
And Hawa went to Kellogg. That really transformed our life. We were two girls from France from immigration who didn't know they could go that far. And we got our ticket to the moon when we landed those admission to those schools, and it really transformed our careers, our life, our experience. And we've been over the years trying to share information about going to business school or change your career, grow beyond to your potential. Go as far as you can, exploring your potential with people like us in France who didn't know they had those opportunities or didn't realize they could. But we were always finding a way that people will get the information but not take action. And more recently, we connected with personal development, and that's where we connected.
I forgot we took that TED Talk class together too.
Yes.
I'm going to have Richard on soon.
An intensive last year of learning. After I think I went back to a Tony Robbins event 2.5 years ago, and I really sparked the understanding of what was missing in Rise Up and the form we were trying to create it before was really the focus on mindset, because that was the key component in our transformation, in our decision to live and change and to push ourselves forward and beyond what we believe was possible. And so with that, I started to experience Mastermind, starting to learn about coaching. And I was like, this is what we need. That's the tool that will get us the opportunity to create that change, or at least sparkle that change idea in people's mind, and in a way that we can work with them through that idea, not just give them the idea, you can do this, but actually this is how we can help you doing it. And the Mastermind was just such a wonderful experience for me. From Lorelei's Mastermind, Michelle's Mastermind that I participate into. Those are groups that really helped me create momentum and put live, like yourself, we were having ideas of the voice we wanted to put out there and things we wanted to do, but it was all in our head, right? And being part of a group of groups like those, so empowering, just seeing everybody's journey and be a witness of how taking action one day and another day and another day can really transform and create that momentum that you think that is out of reach. That's how we had the idea to start a mastermind last year. And over a year, we're going to start our fourth round this summer in July. So it's going to be the first year anniversary. We've worked with about almost 20 people across our masterminds groups, and help them with different walks of life or projects of a lot around careers, a lot around personal development, a lot around entrepreneurship. And we decided there was a rising need among our members, of early members, about creating their opportunity. They build their own businesses or own side thing. We felt that not only the mastermind was a great tool to foster that communication, that creativity, that brainstorming, that support, but also we can bring into the table our years of business skills and experience and leadership skills, because we both went to work for Fortune 100 companies in global roles internationally. I worked in Africa and in the US. I worked in Singapore and in the US in tech. I work in energy and IoT. So we had a lot we felt that we could bring to people like us back home in France who don't actually see themselves as achieving a lot more than they are doing today. Or I don't know how, actually. They see themselves do, but they don't really know how. And that's where Rise Up come to play. And that's where that vision to kind of unleash kind of a new generation of Francophone talent came from.
So beautiful. And how lucky are they to have you? Oh my gosh. It's amazing. So what has been your biggest takeaway, like your biggest breakthrough, your biggest like gift through helping people step into that power?
I mean, it's amazing to see that moment when people realize like like those sparkle in the eyes, that moment where people realize that they can too, and they're going to places they never thought they could be. I will share a story of one of the girls, the youngest of the members we had in our group, and she happened also to be my mentee for a few years before she joined the Mastermind. And it's a young girl who really kind of put herself out there, starting a college education with an associate degree in banking, working part-time, went to UK to learn English and as a au pair. And that's where I met her. I started mentoring her, and I shared my story with her. I shared my past, and she happened to also share my origin country. She's from Congo as well, born in France, raised in France, and she didn't think she could do more as far as her studies, or she was very intimidated. And I told her, no, you can like apply to college there. She was interested into finance. I encouraged her to get it to college, so she get a degree in finance, and she did. Last year, she graduated with a master in finance.
Big deal.
And that's when she joined the Mastermind, and she was looking for a job. It was a long period of search, and can be really daunting. But I told her like not to settle for anything less than what she wants, and the Mastermind experience gave her the mindset and the tool to really persevere and find focus and resiliency in those steps. And took several months, but she kept at it, and she landed her dream job in Brussels with one of the world leading energy group and the trading floor. And it's a girl who had a technical background, like the high school technical degree in France typically don't go far. They stop 2 years after college with an associate degree, and they go for jobs that are more like on the lower hand of the economy, as far as like small jobs or not high paying jobs. And now she's working on the trading floor in Brussels, and it's just to tell you this story. Those are the reasons that I'm doing this, because realizing that your life can literally change. Your prospects, the quality of your experience can literally change when you realize how far you can go, how much you can, how far and how much you can do beyond what you realize today. So that's I love doing that because of that. And I want to see more of us. That's the reason why we're starting this with Hawa. Everywhere we're going, we're only the only one. And we wanted to see more of us, because if nobody had gave us the encouragement and the idea that we could too, we would not have the life we had today, and we would not even think we could have had that life. So that's why I'm passionate about, and there's so much talent back home in France and in Africa that I want to help as much as I can to unleash those talents and find their voice. Yeah. Beautiful. Hi, well.
So that's amazing. And I just want to thank you for sharing that. And it just spoke to my heart, and it should remind us all that mindset's everything. And
yeah, mindset is everything. And I think one thing that I did realize over what happened the last months, and especially with the current events, is when the wind is always against you, when you're from a minority group, whether part of the world you are in, there's a reality that a lot of time the wind is against you, but it doesn't mean that it has to define you, and it doesn't mean that you cannot create your own swing and your own balance and your own take into it. But you don't really have much chance if you don't have on your mindset. And that has been the key for me and Hawa when we embarked into that journey of going to a top MBA, where we were not coming from academic track of excellence. We didn't go to top schools, undergrad in France, and it seemed so remote and foreign. But something clicked, and something made us think that we could do it, at least try. And if we hadn't tried, we would not have known. And now we know we could. But it's really like working on the mindset is the foremost, more important thing that people need to do, especially when they are in contexts where the wind is against you, or you don't have access to a lot of things. So it's so critical, and we don't realize how much it's important until we do some soul searching later in our lives, or something happened to us and we're forced to stop, like the COVID. So it's an opportunity and a gift, I think, the COVID for us to do that, to realize we can find the keys within us.
And, I just wanted to highlight also like the fact that I think one of my personal experiences has been like not to have to do it alone, and to have people like you who will inspire, and people to guide you maybe. And it leads to my next question. Like, did you have somebody in your journey that kind of inspired that in you, like made it clear to you that you can do anything, and that,
Yes, and one of the main one is Mr. Tony.
Oh, Mr. Tony.
It's I randomly went to a UPW in 2007 in London, and that was a tipping point, and the pivotal point that's where I decided I was going to apply to Harvard, to Columbia, to Boost, all those schools, because before, those were things that I'm starting to think of, but as dreams, like but unattainable dreams. Like, oh, that would be just wonderful, amazing if I could be in one of those schools, even just for one day. But it was not something that was authorizing myself to even consider as a possibility. And when I went to UPW and I walked on fire, then I realized, what the hell, I can actually do anything that I want. I can walk on fire, so why can't I just own my dream? And that was really like the tipping point, and that gave me permission to believe some of the things that I've heard before. People told me, actually you could, but I didn't listen to it. And information that I received that I disregarded. At that point, I kind of reconnected everything, and it's like, maybe if I do the right thing. Tony talked about taking massive action. Looking for people who are doing what you want to do, and model them, find support and coaches to help you. And that's exactly what I did. I fully immersed myself, like thought MBA, like for a year and a half. It was like an obsession. I was dreaming, everything was MBA. I put all my resources into that project. I was visualizing, all those things. I hired a coach. So it didn't happen as out of nowhere just because I wanted it, but I did it really, the idea that I should try came from Tony, that, the experience of the firewalk was really transformative for me. And then I was really lucky, everybody around me also, I never had an entourage that tried to talk me down or tell me, you're out of your place, or who feel intimidated by my dreams. And always my family and my friends will be supportive of whatever I put my eye on and try to do. They may not understand all the time what I'm trying to do or whatever, but they always support. And all that combined has really been key factors for me to get to that place. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I also remember we were talking about when you were in New York about bringing your mastermind members to UPW.
Yes.
Is that, yeah. So,
Yes.
so tell me everything about that. And I also want to know about the translation. If there's an issue with French translation.
We did. So it's funny because like at Business Mastery, I think we met, it was in July, and in August, was it the same year? Yeah, I went to Business Mastery in August, that after we met in New York. And there, we're all pumped out and all gladiators. I decided I'm going to go to Miami. I'm going to bring my mastermind to Miami, to UPW. Really knowing like how and if I could really make it happen and all this thing. But we did it, and we were led a group of we're 9 from France, Canada. My fiancé came too, was awesome, and it was a really, really amazing experience. And to be finally able to share that experience with people who are friends and people who are like me, who were just so remote from that before, and I could talk about it all day long, but it's very hard to understand that experience when you haven't been in those rooms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially if you're from France, because culturally it's so foreign and remote. Like Tony is loud and it's like a super production, and this is everything that the French hate. Too much show.
Hilarious.
So it's really hard to make them understand the value, like beyond the form and the scenery and all the things that when he's sharing the message, and all this is on actually stage for a reason, and really to ignite change and immersion. So it was so great because for many years when I went to UPW the first time, it was one of my best friends who brought me there. And I thought that this personal development thing were like things that were not pertinent to somebody like me. I really felt that those were things, and I really not judging or anything, but that was my view back then. There was a lot of bias. This is for bougie white people who don't really have issues and trying to think about life in different dimensions, but like not essential. Like that was how I saw that, because my reality were about more how to gain certainty about things that are much more practical, important, and I didn't realize the importance like spirituality and higher self, higher purpose, and finding all those answers within you.
It's 11/11, make a wish.
I've been saying those numbers now since because of you.
I love you.
That's my lucky number. This is the one I've seen the most. Yeah, 11/11. So I'm so happy to be able to bring that experience to people from diversity in France who didn't really know those experiences, and where they find they could learn from it, and they all have great experience. They all have this as catalyst for what's next in their life, and everybody's on their own journey, but it really had an impact, and that was the goal. And overall, we had an amazing week in Miami.
That was my favorite event. Oh my God.
It was so fun. So it was the best destination to do a seminar like this.
So good. Miami is my favorite.
Yes. So that was great. And something else you asked me and I forgot. There was another question.
The language barrier.
Yes. So a lot of what I've learned and what helped me grow has been on the Anglophone world, like Tony's content and many others that I discovered through his seminar. Like the talent he has is like he bring and package all those experts in personal development and in the seminar, and he draw from their insight and teach us the key learning from those experts. And I've discovered a whole world of Hector Tolle and Alison Armstrong and all those people, and not a lot of their work is translated. Tony's work is not translated. His best-selling programs and applications like Ultimate Age, all those things are not translated. And the events, only one event a year, where if you only speak French, you can go, as the one in the UK. And you have to pay an additional like 350 euros to have a translation. So it's significant cost on top of your admission ticket and your travel and everything. And I really feel like there's a whole world that if you only speak French, that's not accessible. And all the things that helped me grow and see the world in different perspectives have been in English. And so I'm really passionate about bringing personal development content in French. And Tony, if you listen, I love to have your Unlimited Edge program translated in French, because there is about 300 million Francophone people around the world today. That population is the fastest growing language population in the world. There will be, by 2030, there will be 800 million Francophone speakers in the world. A lot of them, maybe like three-thirds of them, are in Africa. And among those, 75 are below 15 today, age of 15 today. This huge impact potential because of the French language being spoken by such a young population for development and growth in a very growing continent, Africa, with lots of talent and potential that doesn't have access to all those tools. And especially not today that with internet, you don't have to be like, see how Tony is doing his challenge. You don't have to be able to buy a ticket to London or to Miami to see those content, but you can bring it home. And unfortunately, a lot of these are not in French and translated. And the French scene of personal development is not on par with the Anglophone scene. I mean, with all due respect, it's nothing comparable. The greatest. Why do
you think?
But first of all, the personal development comes from America. I mean, that's Tony invited coaching, all the top world expert, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, everything were produced in America. So a lot of the top influencers in that space are Americans, and all the culture about sharing people's success is very American. In France, we don't really talk about success story as how to become successful. We'll talk about people's success when they are successful, show them as success, but it's not about their journey.
Wow.
It's about their success today, the status. We celebrate status, but we don't really share and celebrate the progress in the journey, because the French culture is very elitist and put in a way that we don't really want everybody to succeed in the same fair way. So people who have power and money and in the economic side, in the business world, rarely do the things you see in America. Like you and I were in a mastermind with the world's top public speaker coach. I would never have this kind of opportunity in France. The best whatever discipline coach or expert in this field that could empower me as a nobody person in France would not have access to me, and I would not have access to them. So that's why I felt all those, and nowadays with the knowledge economy and all those experts who are coming and sharing their knowledge, that trend is coming from America. It's coming translating into France, but in a very smaller scale. And there's a lot of platforms that are putting really like world famous experts teaching master classes, but those content are not accessible in French either. So
it's a huge market.
It's a huge market. So that's one of the things that I want to tackle on with Rise Up. It's another arm, but like I think media is a war for the mind. The messages that we have disseminating in society are often not empowering, and especially people who need it the most are not fed with the right information, not the right quality contents that will really make a difference in their life. And that's what I'm passionate about, and I really believe that there is a uniqueness in the French culture with all its diversity and our education system, and a lot of great things are in France, but not exploited. And I think we would have more diversity in leadership, diversity in entrepreneurship. We'll have an opportunity to shape business culture and the world in different way. And in Africa and Europe,
we will.
Yes. Amen. Yes, amen. So it's a big, so right now I'm doing a mastermind. I feel like a drop in the ocean.
No.
But the bigger vision is to go somewhere toward that, being able to produce. I love to start. I'm sure you're working on starting a podcast too, the next couple of months, and but take on this journey of bring a different voice and bring a different content, and quality content, content that and people that really drive results and impact to the Francophone world, and that's what we need.
So beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing all of that. I want to ask a personal question about France and your experience there. And you grew up in France?
Yes, I did. I grew up in a city called Rennes. It's in Brittany, in the west side of France. And it's the region where the crepes are from. So the crepes are one of my favorite and best specialties.
Are we talking about food right now?
I made the best crepes, so now I owe you next time I see you to make you crepes.
Promise?
I promise. It's an easy one because I love crepes, so it won't be difficult for me to make some.
Do you put stuff in them, or you just?
Oh, I love to put. You can put anything, but I love Nutella on it. I love Nutella and whipped cream. I love apple. So there's one that I love to make. It took more time, but I would like slice like thin apples in the pan, and then pour the dough for the crepe dough in it, and it will kind of cook inside, and then I add chocolate, and it's so good.
I went to France when I was really young, and I feel like I didn't get to experience the cuisine.
How old were you?
I was trying to think about this. I probably was 18 because I did Kentucky. I did the Kentucky tour with my boyfriend at the time.
Nice.
Yeah, it was it was like a gift to me, and it was just so sweet. But we didn't have a big budget, so we kind of ate like street food and stuff. Yeah. But I would love to go back and explore because some of the best food in the world comes from France.
Yeah, there's a great food, and I miss some of it. I miss some of it a lot. And there's such a richness. I mean, different regions have different special dish, and there's a different take, and also there's a lot of food from also everywhere because you have all this population from all over the world. And are now also influencing the cuisine, the restaurants in France. You find more like fusions of different influences and things like that. But yeah, it's food is always being like in one I think I miss the most. I think it's like the dinners. Like in the US, in America, when you meet friends, you tend to go out for dinners. We go to restaurants and everything. In France, we do that too, but we also love having home dinner parties. And because why we love doing those? Because we can stay forever talking, sitting at the table around food and good wine, and like talk about politics and all those things, and like go for any topics that you can think of. And those are my best memories. Like always, like having good food, and like we eat so much we cannot move and leave the table, and having good wine all the way through, and can stay forever. Like I had one particular memory with my girlfriends. I think it was 3 years ago, a summer in Paris. We had a dinner party. I'm not kidding. We didn't leave the table until 6 a.m.
That's goals for me. I love dinner parties too. I miss having them.
We talked, like we were like 8 of us. We talked and laughed until 6 a.m. on the dinner table. I think we had dessert at 2 a.m. Something like that.
Can we make a promise that we could do that?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, with the friends we love to do long debates and talking about society and fun stuff. And
deeper when you break bread with people and you connect on that that level where you're sharing food and.
Yeah, I mean, food open up. Stomach for sure, but minds and make people. Everybody's relaxed when they eat well. everybody's relaxed and they eat well. They have good meal and a good glass of wine. It's a nice combination.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you a couple more questions. I want to ask if you could have a superpower, what would that be?
So it would be to be able to transport myself, like being like this. I want to be like say in Paris, or like this. I can be in Bali, and
go.
I love travel. So if a superpower could be created for anything, it would be to be able to be in different places as much as I can, whenever I want. Yeah, that would be sweet.
I think there's enough of us like putting that out there that's going to happen soon.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll be so superhuman that we can master that.
I mean, technically, you're in New York with me right now. And where are you currently? Because I know you.
I'm in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Georgia. Yeah.
And I'm kind of in Atlanta with you too. So, I mean, not the same.
And this world is so amazingly beautiful that I think I wouldn't have enough of a lifetime to see and be in all the places that I want. So the idea that, I could minimize travel time like this is pretty sweet.
And my ending question, I just want to hear more about how you've been through this whole unique pause for us. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, but how much of a blessing it's been for us. But I was also wondering if there was maybe something you could share with the audience that has helped you or that's on your heart that you want to share for us all.
Yeah, so I think one thing that helped me was surrender, like not resisting what is, and that's like learning from Hector, the power of now, embracing that philosophy of surrender and accept what is, and stop trying to fight things you cannot control, and look at what you can do in that moment. To make the most of it and to find and hear whatever you need to hear you were not listening. And for me, it's been, when the world stopped, I was like, okay, I cannot go like 200 miles an hour anymore. And then maybe that's not a bad thing. Because last year was quite, like when we met, it was just like, I was all over the place and we're doing all those masterminds and, I learned to grow so much last year, but I didn't sleep much. And I started Rise Up last year. I started REELLE Ventures, another business at Hawa, and I co-founded on commercial real estate, where we look for commercial property, mostly retails, and now we're trying to look at other type for investors. We do kind of the due diligence analysis of the properties for investment. And
that's for the U.S., yes?
That's for the U.S., yes. We look in the Atlanta Southeast market, essentially. And we had a huge learning curve, but we kept at it, and it was a great experience. Joining like a group of seasoned investors who've been in commercial real estate for up to 30 years and learning from them. And so it's been really, really fulfilling, like stimulating to do that, but like a lot of work. And on top of that, I was working full time. My mom, I have a boy who's just on 5. And
just on 5?
Yeah, it goes fast, so fast. So life happens, and all that. I started dating someone who became my fiancé, and life happens. So it was a really, really dense year, and I was not sleeping much. And when the world stopped, I left GE at about the same time, a month after the world stopped. And I took it as a blessing. As, time has come to slow down. Time has come to be with my family and my loved one that was literally praying every day that I have more time for them. And this has happened. Mm-hmm. And, but I really, and it's for the first time in my life. I usually, when I face uncertainty, although I'm a very action driven, so when shit happened, sorry for my language, I tend to think about a plan, action. So I don't get dwelled into the issue. That's how I keep my head above the water. I just turn myself around action, so I don't think about the pain of what's going on, or the stress of the uncertainty of what's going on. But for the first time, I really didn't feel an inch of stress, uncertainty, like anxiety from not knowing what would be tomorrow. And obviously, like everybody else, I had financial obligations, and it was a concern not to stop working and be an entrepreneur full time when you haven't reached the level of income you need to supplement the income you're living. But I was not fearful, I was not stressed, I was not anxious, and I think I really practiced surrendering, like accepting and trusting that everything happens for a reason, and what you don't know today is okay, because tomorrow you will know when you need it, and tomorrow you will know when you need it, and whatever you need will come to you at the right time.
Absolutely.
And that's been the key lesson for me over and over, amplified the last couple of years as I delved into personal development. But if I look back in my life, every time I felt like shit hit the fan, it felt like that, but actually unfolded not like that. So be patient. Take this time it's a gift. We really, really got a gift of time. And people don't realize how much time is the most precious currency we have. So it's been, for me, it's been a really, really good period, because there was the beginning of my engagement. So kind of reshaping my personal life and my family time, and reconnecting and bonding as a family unit. That was really beneficial. And that was something that was important to me to have to dedicate focus on. So I'm really, really happy for that. And when the other thing happened with the George Floyd and the events and everything that kind of topped on that, it felt like the world was just like going mad, and it would not stop. But I think it's I also look at it as a blessing, because it's something that an event that forces us to decide, and forces us to decide what we want to tolerate or not anymore as a society. And it's no longer just a Black people issue, and it's not just us anymore that are concerned about those situations. We realize that it's not just enough that the economy is doing well, that things are not so bad, that what we tolerate we get, and as a society at some point it costs us. And I felt first kind of angry and sad and all those things. And now I was like, you know what? Now we have to decide. Now we have to decide. And the debate is going beyond America. It's going across the world, in France too, although they're not tackling that debate the way I wish they were.
What about it isn't agreeing?
I think France is a lot in France is about making sure we're not as bad as what happened in America. So being in that perspective, the narrative is like, oh, but it's not that bad as in America. Oh, it's not that bad as in America.
I have a lot of friends all over the world, and I hear that a lot.
Yeah. So it's kind of pointing out America as, no, what they're doing there is really, really bad. So you cannot complain, because we are not killing people like that here. So, but it's kind of dismissing altogether any issue that those countries have, because they do have. I mean, it's not the context of America. It's not the same as France and other countries in Europe, like UK, who were former colonial countries. But slavery and colonization didn't happen in the soil of France, in the mainland in Europe, but it happened in the colonies in Africa. It happened in the Caribbean, where there were slaves and then there was colonies. And but the experience of and the residual of that experience on the mainland didn't occur for most people. So that feel that what happened doesn't concern them, but it still has consequences in all the reference and mindset and all the things that come with centuries of oppression and all these things. So it's not the same problem, but it has similar consequences. Maybe not as radical and extreme that we can see in the numbers of cases in America that have happened. But they still has some cases of racism and police brutality is a real problem and issue in France. Not that all the cops are bad in France and same here in America, but it does exist and it's not appropriately addressed. And it's creating a lot of frustration and injustice as well on the part of the population. And denying altogether there is no problem is not solving anything. So that's where the challenge I have with the way France is dealing with what happened in the protest and everything, because there's been protests in Paris too, but they quickly to dismiss like, we're not America. We're not America. It's not like America. Without recognizing there is huge discrimination in France. The reason I left is altogether because of discrimination. The reason why I stopped going international to grow my career is because of discrimination in France. So it's not like there's no problem. And what was real for me 10 years ago when I left is still real for everybody that I talk to today in France in 2020. So we still have a lot of things to deal with. They're different issues because the context is different, but it's still the same underlying roots, racism and prejudice and all these things and biases. And biases are kind of normal. Like everybody has biases. You just need to be aware and educated about the biases you may develop and encounter so that they're not stopping somebody to live their life. That's the big line that I draw is other racism is a bad thing. And I hope nobody would be racist and it's a stupid ideology. But what's more harmful is injustice and prejudice that are actions that come out of racism and that prevent people to live the life of their choice. And that's where it really gets on my nerve because you can have all the ideas you want and everybody have the opinions that they want. But as soon as those opinions stop me to live my life, I have a problem. And that's what happened in France, and I don't want to look at it. So that's, so I go back and forth with like the frustration and the rage and the militantism and in me, the militant in me. But at the same time, there's nothing that doesn't change. So I know that for a fact, and it will change too in France. Regardless where it comes from, if the influence comes from outside or forced from outside in or within out, change will come to there. And that's why we're doing Rise Up, to also change perception and mindset and so that it can positively influence people who are subject to those very difficult circumstances and but also people who want to do better and find a way, a platform that can help them do better.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with all of us. And if I could just ask you a question on what you think is going to help us further to really make that change. Is there something that you see or feel that's really going to make it change? We always talk about how education is key and, getting more knowledgeable and I think it's listening and being more knowledgeable about others people's experience and trying to also be just as a human, like be a better person, like be aware of the thing that you get easily because you're in a certain context, be aware of your advantages when you have them. And, depending on where you are in the world, we all have a set of circumstances that places that advantage versus another one on different levels. But I think denying those differences is kind of denying that we don't start on the same line, which is not true. I mean, there's no egalitarian world. We all start from different lines and the lines are defined by different factors. But I think we need to demand, stop accepting that some people, I hear that often, this person is supporting my cause, so I disregard what else bad they're doing because they're supporting my interest. And I think that that clientelist kind of mindset or like my interest is served, but whatever is happening next or aside from it, it's not really nice. No, it's a little bit shady, but I really don't care because it's not impacting me.
that kind of tolerance, I think, is what get us here. If we tolerate that somebody we support do bad things to other people because it's not affecting us, then we're not solving anything, because one day they're not going to support, they're going to do something bad to you. At one point, we're all going to be can be all pointed as the problem for someone. It's just a matter of time. We never can always be the problem of somebody else if somebody was always looking for somebody to blame. So I wish more people were not just looking at their own specific interests on, things are going well, making a lot of money on this, so I don't really care about the social thing, or this cause that I'm supporting, I'm getting support and funding for, but I don't really care all the bad that they're doing on the side because it's supporting my cause. And I think if you're authentic and behave with integrity, you shouldn't have those kind of discrepancies on how you're perceiving your values and your actions. And you should, as leaders, we look at leaders, they should be at least have some sort of integrity across the thing they support, and not be good to some and bad to others. And I'm simplifying very.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything that you've shared today, and I'm so grateful for you. I love being in your presence and learning from you and hearing you and your opinions on things, and I'm so excited for your mastermind and all that you're doing to better. You're amazing.
Thank you. You too. I mean, you are a true light, and I can tell, everybody is coming contact to you and always leave the same way. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your heart, kindness, and for showing up and sharing your voice with everybody else. And what you do matters. And I'm so happy you're finding your path, and you're finding your light. I know you had also attended a lot last year. And look at where we are today, and it's amazing. So I'm really appreciative about you and knowing you, and for you for introducing me to the angels.
I'm like crying. I love you so much.
Gabrielle, I told my son about the angel, and now he sees them and he's like, "Leave my mom. It's a number, angel number."
Give him the biggest hug ever. He is the cutest kid I've ever met. Please.
Thank you. I will.
Love to the rest of your family. And we'll connect soon. I can't wait to hear about everything.
Yeah, thank you. Talk to you soon.
Can I just ask you one more question about the mastermind? Is it in French?
Yes, it's in French now, but
okay.
we'll be looking to do and open other mastermind in the future that'll be more global, so including Francophone, but we're doing in English, because we would have people that may be English speakers, or I think we can also bring more global experts if people speak English as well. So kind of the language of business. So right now we're in French, but we'll open up to English bilingual programs too.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you real soon.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Love you.